Good evening. I want to welcome everybody to the Public Power Hour. We'll start just a few minutes early. I'm not going to go through the rules. They're up here because we are tight. We're on a tight timetable. Basically, we have 5 folks who are going to share. You're going to have about 5 minutes, and that's going to be, so within that 5 minutes, we'll give you all 5 if you need it, but if your presentation's 5 minutes, that's probably not going to leave any time for us to ask questions, okay? So just to let you know, we don't vote on anything tonight. This is an informal meeting. This is an opportunity for you to be in front of all of council and either telling us something good that's happening in the community or sharing an idea that you have or something we need to be aware of. So with that, we're going to start off with Mr. Rod Greenway. Rod, if you'll just state your name only and then go for it.
Rod Greenway. I've been here in North Augusta all my life, since 1945. 77 years old. I've been a teacher, coach, ball player, assistant principal, a number of different things. And now, when I retired in 2009, my son, who has an all-state agency here in town, said, "Why don't you come help me out for a couple of days?" And I said, "Okay, I'll try that," because I didn't have anything to do. So that couple of days is still going on right now. And I've been there since 2009, and he's a member of the Satoma Club. I'm not a member of the Satoma Club. The Satoma Club sends kids to Camp Satoma each year, hearing impaired, speech impaired, and underprivileged. My job is that I do all the paperwork and go with them up there and go get them a week later. I have one situation that has been in my crawl for a good many years. When Mr. Brooks was the recreation department head, he helped purchase an activity bus. Yep. We get to use that activity bus each year. It is vital. It runs real well, it's air conditioned, it's comfortable, everything else. The paint job is bad. It says North Augusta on the side of it. I bleed black and gold. I've been here long enough to see all of the things. I grew up right downtown. I knew exactly. You go to the Living History Park, you come on the other side of the fence. That's where I grew up, at 301 West Spring Grove. So I came this way all the time. I'm asking for somebody to step up to the plate and let's get this activity bus painted. When it goes down the road, I tell Bob Brooks all the time, "Have you looked at the new fire department?" I go by, I've been there since they broke ground on the old Blandenburg property. I knew exactly where it was. And I watched it step by step. It is absolutely beautiful right now. The police department's coming up before long to fix that up. Then we've got benches all over town. We've got military banners hanging up. I've already paid my money on the military banners to get my father and my brother up there. They're former veterans. Everything looks good. I want somebody to be able to guide us in the direction to get that bus painted. Because when you ride down the road, it says North Augusta on the side. And then all of a sudden they look at the front of it and it's a little embarrassing. Thank you, sir. I got permission from Recreation Department to come before y'all too. I didn't want to go out of bounds here or there, but I wanted you to know. We don't have an invested interest in the bus, just the appearance. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Yes, I come with some visuals this time as well. My name is April Jordan, and I am the Director of Outreach for the Cumbie Center. We are a nonprofit agency that serves 6 counties, Aiken, Allendale, Barnwell, Edgefield, McCormick, and Saluda, for domestic violence and sexual assault victims. And so we have tons of services that we do for our victims and survivors and their families, from counseling to 24/7 hotline and shelter, safe house. We do lots of community awareness. We do lots of public speaking, groups, sessions, from little itty bitties all the way up to old fogies like me, in lots of different groups, churches, schools, and the like. So we have been granted permission to put our purple bows up and down Georgia Avenue on the light poles for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is coming up in October. And it will have a little information card attached to it that just tells just a little blip about our free services that we have, just about us supporting and empowering domestic violence and sexual violence victims. So we did it in the month of April with our teal ribbons for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and so this is for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so just wanted to let you guys know that this is what we'll be seeing, and if you had any questions.
That's for the whole month of October?
For the whole month of October.
And you will have the card, because I know last year, Pat, several people talked about, they didn't know what it was.
Yes.
And they looked at the card, it told them.
Yeah, so that's why we started that this year with our sexual assault ribbons. My amazing new volunteer coordinator thought of that and said, well, they're not even going to know what those ribbons are. Let's get it together. So we've got cards that will be attached to the ribbons that tell you how to get in touch with us and what services we offer.
Well, we always get, somebody always on social media ask about what are those purple. So hopefully everyone out there is watching this, this is what it is. So thank you.
Yes, for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and you can call our 24/7 line at 803-649-0480. If you have any questions, need any help, anything like that, we'd love to help you.
Anybody got questions for April?
Anybody?
Thank you for what you do.
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. I know this guy's been itching to get up here. Mr. Tom Roberts. State your name just for the record, please, sir.
Tom Roberts,
Thank you.
live on Bolin Road. I was in here several months ago and talked to you all about the murals on the Greenway, and that, just waiting on North Augusta Forward for $300 for the paint, go to the school, and I don't know. I've talked to them several times, and I know they're nonprofit, but if anybody knows anybody over there, maybe they could just ask them to send a check over to North Augusta, $300 for the paint. We'll get this done. Okay, everybody got the handout?
Yep, we got it.
I was in Ackworth, Georgia, and saw this. They have a greenway over there, and they have all this artwork up, and it looks real nice. You can see how it's just, they just use pull ties, put it to fences. You see that on page 3. Then they got the names of the artists on the bottom down there. But anyway, I do substitute teaching at the schools, and I've talked to the art teachers. If you go to page 6, I'd like to get this out across the schools and let them give an opportunity for the students to either pencil it, paint it, crayon it. And the art teachers were enthusiastic about it. The problem is on the Greenway, particularly on the weekends, when you get a lot of weekend people out there, they come right up behind you and they zoom right around, and all you need is a bell. And some people have it, and you can hear that. It's like I set up here from 50 feet away from behind you. If somebody's got headphones on, they can usually hear it. But I would like to get the word out. I probably could put this up on several places on the Greenway, over at the bike shops. But if it was online, the teachers could download it, print them out. The kids could color them, do whatever they want to do with their artistic ability, and then we could submit it. And you saw on the first page, it's all corporate sponsored in Ackworth. I would get out and do the legwork if it was to raise the money for these If you're over at the high school stadium, you've seen the football pictures, players' pictures. That's similar. That's the same thing. Communigraphics did that work. I've talked to them. Yes?
Let me just clarify this. So what you're wanting to do is several things. The first thing is to have a contest where you would have people draw this bell.
Kids,
And
students.
then you would choose the best one and then make it into a banner, like
Yes,
this page,
yes.
that, like, you put the best one into a banner
Or maybe-
that you would hang on the greenway.
Maybe do 20 of them.
Right, but,
Yeah,
okay.
and get them out, and people could see it. Maybe even put them up back here. They could, what it is it's so easy to hang them. It's like, movable art. The other pictures I had there was of the golden orb spider, and then if kids wanted to do that, that's something else. But I would like to get opportunity, if you all thought that was a good idea, I would make the legwork. What I would need from you all is probably an official letter to go out, and if I was going to the banks or insurance companies or anybody for corporate, I need some kind of something from the city. And somewhere where the money was going to go, probably with the city or the art council, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want them writing me a check.
I think they're a great idea. I think it's a great idea. I think there's devils in the details.
Yes.
What we need to know is, I don't know if this is a mural, so again, we'd have to look at this. Looks more like a banner. So off the top of my head, I don't think any of us can tell you what that looks like with our code, but I think the idea, and then of course, like always, maintaining it, who's gonna make it. So what I'm hearing you say at this point is, one, you want, not tonight, but you want to find out, is this something that we think is worthwhile?
Put up on city property.
And
Right.
city property, and two, would we have some type of letter that would state that, let you know that whoever you're talking to, that we would allow that to happen?
The money is, right. Because if I'm asking for money, I don't want to ask for personal checks or anything like that. It would have to go to either the art council or the city, right?
Yes, it would probably
The
rather.
devil's in the details. That's just,
But anyway, okay. Any comments, Tom, about this? Thoughts?
some of these other pictures, like that one, that's the amphitheater down by the stadium. That would be a great place. I was thinking where there's traffic, automobile plus pedestrian traffic, they can see it.
Tom, I was just going to say, I think these are fantastic ideas, and I know the person that you probably need to talk to pretty well. So, my husband, Michael, so I'll be sure to pass this on to him and see if we can circle in with Friends of the Greenway and figuring out different things that maybe we can get done moving forward. But these are fantastic ideas, and the cyclist awareness is huge for the drawing, so it's a two-edged sword, safety and creativity. So thank you for coming
Yeah, and the
tonight.
second phase would be, maybe we could go with artists and photographers like on this one, and, if down the
That
line.
looks good.
Yeah,
looks
I
really
mean, we
good.
got plenty of artists in Aiken and North Augusta and across the river. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a movable art. It's not permanent. I mean, just like the old skating rink up there, those 3 dirty windows. I mean, how nice would that look to have 3 pictures right there?
Very good.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. This is very good. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Good stuff. All right, we've got Mr. Robbie Bell. Want to come on up, and here, I think Katie's with you. If you both state your name for the record, please.
Good evening, I'm Katie Smallwood. Robbie Bell came up with the idea to put on a pickleball tournament at the Riverview Park Activity Center. And we got the registration up and running late May. And by the beginning of August, we were able to recruit 264 players for the tournament. The largest tournament before this in our area, the CSRA, was 188 players. We're able to recruit so many more because of the facility. Riverview Park has 6 gyms. We were able to put 3 courts in each gym, so that's 18 courts. The registration only required us to use 12 and not full days, so we definitely can grow the tournament, given more time for registration to be publicized. And the revenue wasn't great, as great as we wanted to, but we had some one-time expenses to outfit 18 courts is a pretty big expense. So that will be something that won't happen in the future.
I'm Robbie Bell. Katie and our team had a great tournament. She did a fantastic job. Going forward, next year, we've got 3 tournaments planned, one in March, one in August, and one in December. Last Friday, Katie and I met with Randy DeToe. He's going to get on board with us, and he will be working on adding tournament sponsors, getting the Augusta Sports Council on board, organizing tournament hotels, and adding player hospitality and concessions at the tournament. With the players, the numbers we had to beat the heat, and the pickleball being the fastest growing sport in the United States, we'd like to see North Augusta invest in an outdoor pickleball complex. If the country club is used for a pickleball complex, to give you an idea of the space needed, just the area where the 4 tennis courts are would be enough space for 12 pickleball courts. In your handouts are examples of a few pickleball complexes that have been built in the southeast. We just like to see North Augusta build a premier pickleball venue to become a destination city for pickleball.
Talk to me a little about, go over the revenue piece. So that 4602, that comes to the city?
That goes to the city, yes, sir. And we had to buy 12 nets to add on to what the Park and Rec already had. So that was $2,000 right there that we don't have to spend next year. There's other monies involved that we bought extra raffle prizes and things like that that we don't have to do next year. It'd be a minimum of $8,000 going directly to the city in future tournaments.
And how many days were you here?
2.5, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, what does that, do you have an idea what that would equal versus other events we have where we use that facility? Do you have any idea?
Yes, sir. Typically for a weekend basketball tournament on the 3 days, they get about $6,000 or $7,000.
For the whole 3 days?
Yes, sir, for the whole 3 days. So we're going to be higher than the basketball revenue and higher than the volleyball weekend revenues. And that's not including the economic impact with the heads and the beds and people who come from out of town, staying in hotels.
And y'all had folks on this page, cities represented outside the CSRA. All these cities were represented at this event, right?
Yes, sir.
Chapin, Greenville, Beaufort, Hartsville. I was down there. I know Miss Carpenter was down there, and I tell you that, you know, the folks who are there, you know, we're not having to have a lot of security. I mean, people are adults, but no, I was very impressed. I mean, well run, and I guess the only hiccup was the guy that hit the telephone pole and the power went out for a couple hours.
Set us back a little bit.
It wasn't bad. It's about
It
45 minutes to an hour, but just somebody hit a telephone pole in Buena Vista and cut the power off for a little while. The main energy came out and took care of that.
Questions?
Yeah, just looking at it looks like most of these are outdoor courts. Is there a benefit? I mean, because obviously the gym hosted it, so if
Yes.
you have inclement weather or whatever, that's probably a plus. But I know a lot of people, I don't know anything about pickleball, but I know it's been brought up. I mean,
Yes.
do people generally have outdoor courts or indoors, and a combination of both?
Well, we're using the indoor courts because that's all we have available right now. And most pickleball players enjoy playing outdoors in the proper weather. Now, if it's too cold or raining, of course, then they want to play indoors. But when you get the higher level players that come in and play, in the basketball gym is the best indoor venue that most of us ever played at. But there's basketball lines, there's volleyball lines and things like that there. Where if you have a dedicated pickleball complex, you have just the pickleball lines. It's a lot easier to play and a lot more enjoyable. Yes.
This is fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of people. This is a big movement, and a lot of communities have done that. And I think it's interesting. I did not realize. So the 4 tennis courts at the old North Augusta Country Club property, that basically is 12 pickleball
Yes, so you can get 3 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court.
Okay.
Yes.
When, you know, we'll be starting the master plan for the parks. So there'll be a number of opportunities for citizens. So when you hear about that, get your folks out.
Yes, sir.
This is good.
That's one thing Randy told us Friday. He said every time he goes to another venue, another city, to inspect anything, the first thing he asks is, where's your pickleball courts? Where's your pickleball courts? So we don't have them yet. We're trying to get some.
But this sport is growing tremendously.
Fastest growing sport in the United States.
Fastest
Yes, sir.
growing, really, okay.
A lot of tennis players, a lot of athletes, football players, when they retire, they're going to it. My sister-in-law, Angela's played tennis her whole life. She's a 4 or 5 tennis player, and she plays pickleball with me all the time now. My wife is playing tennis and pickleball. A lot of tennis stars are playing pickleball now.
Really getting big with the youth too. We had a young man that was 11 years old that played in the tournament.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it was.
He won 2 gold medals.
Yeah,
He is really good.
he's really good.
But there's high schools in Aiken that started a club, in Atlanta they're starting clubs. It's going to be a sport, not just a club, a school club, but a school sport going forward. There's talk it possibly may be an Olympic spectator event by 2028. It's just growing by leaps and bounds.
What
and
was that again? What did you say about 2028?
It's possibly going to be an Olympic spectator
Olympic
sport.
sport.
Yes, sir. So they got to have it in 75 countries and I think 4 continents or something for it to be an Olympic sport. But they're working on it. They're getting it growing, and it's happening. It's going to be here some way, one way or another, somehow. Just when y'all decide to do it.
Well, we like to think we've got the best facilities, so, okay, very good. Any other questions for them? Thank you both. This was fantastic. Good
Thank you.
stuff. Appreciate both your time. All right. Mr. Lardy, you want to come on down?
Fred Alardi. I guess I touch on a lot of things that you already said. You said the devil is in the details, and that's the name of my presentation tonight. Also, I belong to Satoma along with Eric. It's a wonderful organization. We give a lot of money to charity, and we hope anybody who wants to join will come down and see us. That's the advertisement for tonight.
It's a good organization. You have a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you for afforded me the time to speak at the Mayor's Power Hour tonight. This discussion items for my talk tonight are as follows: the lack of city transparency, the difficulty in obtaining relevant information in a timely manner, and the burden that is placed on citizens who must pay to get this information, and the inconsistency in understanding reported financial figures. I elected to speak to you tonight to explain the level of frustration some citizens experience trying to get detailed information. After reviewing the Continuing Disclosure Requirements Report Series 2017B disclosures, there was a credit figure of $7,853 for the first quarter and $35,209 credit figure on the second quarter report for 2022 under the parking revenue collected category. I thought it was quite strange to see negative parking figures for this category, so I requested information to better understand why these figures were reported. On June 30th, 2022, I sent a FOIA request for information to try to understand the arrangements the city had made regarding our parking garages, and after 6 weeks, which is now 7 weeks have passed, I still have not received complete information to clear up my questions. Mr. Zier has corresponded with me and explained some of the reasons for the delay, and I appreciate his attention to this matter. I am convinced that after receiving at least a pound of emails, the information I'm looking for is simply either doesn't exist or won't be shared. I would have expected that since the disclosure report was presented to council, that someone might have asked the same questions that I have asked, but they weren't forthcoming. I could ask the mayor and city council to explain how these numbers came about, but I'm sure that they would have the same difficulty that I'm having comprehending them. I am suggesting that questions and answers should have been discussed and reconciled long before I started my inquiry, but there wasn't any. There is a saying that kind of summarizes what is lacking, and that is, the devil is in the details. Defining the statement, it means that to understand the situation, you must pay attention to the details. In today's world in North Augusta, those details are most often elusive to obtain. Prior Please take note of the explanation listed in the second quarter report listing parking revenue. It states that the city is currently working with the hotel developer and hotel management to reconcile parking revenue collected. Really? I thought that comment a little strange since the hotel garage is at least 3 years old. What leverage does the city have in this negotiation, and why is it taking so long to complete? Does that mean the city collects whatever the hotel deems fair until the problem is resolved? I know that the city administrator is trying his best to resolve this problem, and I hope it continues to defend the city's strong position in this matter as he has up to this time. I have attempted to get parking arrangements or contracts that are in place to better understand the negative figures listed, but that has also been difficult to obtain. I think some third-party organization is managing all the garages, but that still is an educated guess by me. I do know the hotel operator is unhappy with the financial arrangement, a garage that the city built and owns. Who pays for the parking employees? How are these costs split? How much is collected from any garage? And why is there still today a parking arrangement conflict with the hotel while the garage in the city that the city owns sits mostly empty and unused for some events? As you know, I offered to show pictures of our sometimes used city-owned barricaded Medec garage, but was told it wasn't necessary to see the information, even though I think a picture was worth 1,000 words. In an email dated February 22nd, 2021, more than a year and a half ago, a high-ranked city employee pointed out to Ms. Hayes, former CFO, that the parking revenue for 2020 was reported as $42,243, when the city in its financial projection shows projected income of about $485,000. She imagined that the deficit might be larger since parking enforcement and indirect costs for public safety and public works staff didn't appear to be included. There was no email response that was sent to me. There was a $443,600 deficit in this category. How is that deficit made up? Did the citizens become responsible for this apparent problem? I am strongly suggesting that detailed reports be made available for all the income categories defined in the scenario reports that are necessary to satisfy the financial model. Is that possible? Is it currently being done? It would also be advantageous to be able to see the expenses generated in those categories. As I have stated, unless more detail is provided, it is impossible to reach valid conclusions. The citizens are entitled to know this information. Please help us get it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We're going to close the public power hour and come back in 5 minutes for council. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call the September the 19th, 2022 North Augusta City Council meeting to order. It's great to see everybody, a great turnout. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, I ask your guidance as we discuss the business of the city. I ask for your discernment as we make decisions that impact our community. I ask that you continue to open our hearts and minds to what is shared tonight. We know that if the Lord delights in a man's way, he makes his steps firm. We ask for continued blessings for the city of North Augusta. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. We'll do our roll call from my left.
Eric Presnell.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Bob Brooks.
Jennifer McCauley.
Kevin Toole.
Great. Item 4, approval of minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular city council meeting minutes of August the 15th, 2022, or the study session minutes of September the 12th, 2022? Hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Okay, we have got 3 proclamations tonight, and I am so excited. And I'm going to ask Ms. Twanda Bateman, who is a Quality Assurance Coordinator for Tri Development Center, if she would come forward, and anybody that you want to bring with you would be welcome. Come on. Where's Twana? There you are. You're hiding back there. How you doing, young lady? Good to see you. Good. Okay. Look at Will up front. Now that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Whereas direct support professionals, including direct care workers, personal assistants, personal attendants, in-home support workers, and paraprofessionals are key to providing publicly funded, long-term support and services for millions of individuals with disabilities. And whereas direct support professionals arrive for work every day ready to do all they can to ensure the health and safety of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and autism, community providing essential support that ensures all individuals are included as a value part of their community, supported at home, at work, and in their communities, and empowered to live with dignity that all people deserve. And whereas direct support professionals ensure that individuals with disabilities thrive through connections to their families, friends, and communities, thereby avoiding more costly institutional care. And whereas providing a broad range of individualized supports from navigating the routines of daily home life, job training, financial matters, medical appointments, and personal interests, to providing transportation to school, work, religious, and recreational activities, and keeping people with disabilities safe and healthy during the pandemic, and volunteering to quarantine with individuals serve to reduce transmission of the virus, direct support professionals must build close, respectful, and trusting relationships with the people they serve to empower them to fully participate in their communities. Whereas increased awareness and recognition of direct support professionals can help alleviate the critical and growing shortage of these important healthcare workers in the Palmetto State. Now, therefore, I, Britton S. Williams, Mayor of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim September the 11th through the 19th, 2022, and the days as Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week in City of North Augusta, South Carolina, and urge all citizens to honor our direct support professionals for their dedication and contributions that enhance the lives of individuals of all ages with disabilities. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina to be affixed this 19th day of September 2022. Even though we're a few days late, we were able to get a letter into y'all's newsletter, the Tri Development newsletter, on time. So anyway, we cannot tell you how much we appreciate everything that all of y'all do. You're making a difference in people's lives, and we thank you. You're the unsung heroes of this community, and glad we could recognize you. So here you go. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, sure. Jamie will take that picture. Let me get up. Hold that out right there for you, young man. Okay, these next two are general read to the public, so I'm going to read them here from the dais. Constitution Week Proclamation. Whereas our founding fathers, including South Carolinians Pierce Butler, Charles Pinckney, John Rutledge, and Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, risked their fortunes and some even their lives to secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their posterity, did ordain and establish a Constitution for the United States of America. And whereas September the 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas the anniversary of the signing of the Constitution provides an historic opportunity for all Americans to learn about and recall the achievements of our founders and to reflect on the rights and privileges of citizenship, as well as attendant responsibilities. And whereas the independence guaranteed to the American people by the Constitution should be celebrated by appropriate ceremonies and activities during Constitution Week, which is September the 17th through the 23rd of 2022 this year, as designated by the proclamation of the President of the United States in accordance with Public Law 915. Now, therefore, I, Britton S. Williams, Mayor of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim September the 17th to 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in the City of North Augusta, South Carolina, and urge all citizens to reflect during that week on the many benefits of our federal Constitution and the privileges and responsibilities of American citizenship. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina to be affixed this 19th day of September 2022. And I'm not going to ask Tanya and Michaela to stand up and embarrass them. I know they're here. So I'm going to read our third proclamation from Stormwater Awareness Week. Whereas polluted water released into our local creeks, streams, reservoirs, and rivers can cause harm to human health and wildlife, contaminate our drinking water sources, and threaten the ability to take part in recreational water activities. And whereas population growth, residential and commercial development, and the resulting changes to the natural drainage, hydrology of the land will only deepen our concern for stormwater quantity and quality in the City of North Augusta. And whereas the most common source of pollution to our water resources is stormwater runoff that includes waste, pet waste, yard waste, vehicle fluids, trash, and sediment. And whereas these impacts cannot be entirely avoided or eliminated, but can be reduced with the use of education, outreach, and change in everyday pollution prevention practices. And whereas our stormwater management team is equipped to aid in the development and implementation of effective education and outreach programs in connection with other municipalities and organizations within the CSRA that will meet state and federal stormwater pollution control requirements. And whereas this need arises from regulatory requirements, but also from the local community members, residents of our city, and local stakeholders and decision makers that will benefit from a greater awareness of the cumulative impacts our decisions make at home, at work, at school, and through local policy, affect the water quality of the Savannah River and our local resources. And whereas the year 2022 marks the first annual Stormwater Awareness Week sponsored in the City of North Augusta. Now, therefore, I, Britton S. Williams, Mayor of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week September the 25th through October the 1st, 2022, as Stormwater Awareness Week in the City of North Augusta. I urge all citizens to pay tribute to water resources and to recognize the impact we can have to protect and preserve the water quality of our creeks, streams, reservoirs, and rivers, and the quality of life brings to our city, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and cause a seal of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina, to be affixed this 19th day of September 2022. And I will tell you, Tanya, Michaela, just your crew just do an amazing job for us, and you do the right thing. And we are very fortunate to have you on our team, and we thank you for all of everything you do. So thank you. All right. All right, we are going to unfinished business, number 6. Ordinance number 2022-13 to amend section 2-36, regular meeting days of the Code of Ordinances for the City of North Augusta to provide for the cancellation of the first meeting in April in the event such meeting comes during the week of the Masters Golf Tournament. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading?
So moved.
Ms. Carpenter?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Brooks, thank you. Anything you need to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
For Mayor and Council, this is a second reading. We've had discussions on this in study session and also in the previous council meeting. Essentially, this is to allow the flexibility for the council to cancel a meeting in lieu of the Masters Week. By ordinance, we're required to have at least one city council meeting per month. This does not remove that requirement. It just allows us to not have to do a separate resolution to do this in lieu of the Masters. Our attorney, Kelly Zier, had brought this forward to us previously, and again, the staff recommendation is to approve it as written.
Okay, very good. Are any public comments from anybody? Okay, any council discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Under new business, this is item number 7, planning development. Ordinance number 2022-15 to amend the zoning map of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina by rezoning plus or minus .52 acres of land owned by Hardy Land LLC, Aiken County tax parcels number 005-19-06-006 from PD plan development to R5 mixed residential. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Carpenter, Mr. McGee, second, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Certainly for the citizens at home, this parcel of land is where the current car wash is behind the gas station right at the intersection of Pisgah and Five Notch. And so this request is to rezone that roughly half-acre property to R5 with the intention of putting a small apartment unit at that location. I know there were some questions from the council, and I believe the owner or developer has come tonight to be able to speak to the council directly to answer your questions.
Great. Glenn, if you would state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Glenn Brooker, Appleton, Georgia.
And your address, Athens. Okay, great. Thank you. Anything you want to share?
Well, Tommy asked me to come. He said you all may have some questions regarding how the 5 apartments connect to the townhouses. So if you look on your, yes, it's a common driveway, common access. The car wash is on the right, the 12 townhouses are on the left.
Might have to speak in that mic. I can't hear up here.
Okay.
I mean, so the audience outside can hear.
Okay.
So just walk us through what you've given us here, if you don't mind, just each
Okay.
page.
The 12 townhouses are on the left. They are approved, and I'm starting construction on them.
Sure.
The car wash piece was zoned 20-something years ago as a special zoning for just a car wash. So I had to get a R5 zoning in order to build the 5 apartments there. So I took it to the planning meeting, and they said that you may have questions.
Are the 2 pages of pictures, or those to tell me, what
Okay.
am I looking at?
Tommy told me to bring pictures, and flats. The 5, if you look at, that's the
Yes.
5 apartments.
The apartments.
Okay. The next picture are the townhouses.
Just, I mean, I'll just start it off. Let me say, first of all, Glenn, there hasn't been a project you haven't done in North Augusta that hadn't been wonderful. All your projects. When I was on planning commission, so you do good work. So I guess I just wanted to understand the thought process of why 5 apartments, not
Okay.
additional townhomes. I mean, these look nice, but I'm just trying to kind of understand your thought process of, is this something that came up down the road? Did you always think about wanting that property? Just kind of walk us through.
I'm going to tell you exactly.
Please do.
The car wash, to me, was an eyesore, and I wanted to control what went on it. I didn't want anything that would deter sales from the townhouses. I decided to build 5 apartments on it, in which I intend to keep. I'm 72. I wanted some income for retirement, so my plans are to keep the 5 apartments and sell the townhouses.
And you don't see any issue with the apartments impacting the sale of your townhomes for any reason?
No, sir.
Is it just 5 total units, or it?
That's all I could get on. That's all I could
Okay.
get on.
And they're 2 stories each is kind of the
A
plan?
story and a half.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
They have a little bit of a townhome.
Yeah, they look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's going to keep them himself,
So now, on the townhomes, those are individually addressed, and you plan on selling those
I'm
to
selling those,
individuals,
right.
not building them and selling them to a landlord, but,
No, sir.
okay.
Mr. Burke, are these townhomes are very similar to what's on LeComte Avenue?
LeComte was 3-story. These are going to be 2-story.
2-story, okay, but very similar.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
okay. I mean, I like the fact that your intention, I mean, these do look nice, and what your intentions are, and you feel good about that compared to the townhomes, so. Okay. Any questions from anybody? Mr. McGee, Eric, anybody?
I think they look great too, but what's your rent gonna be on your apartments?
Don't know. I'm looking at maybe $1,200 a month.
Eric, anything on your thoughts? Okay, okay. Yeah, we just wanted to understand.
Yes, sir.
So take a seat. We'll open it up for the public. Any public comments, please come forward. Okay, any council discussion?
I just kind of wanted to put this out here. I mean, I know I've been saying, we got to watch how many apartments we let in, but on something like this where I think it keeps it in check when you have home ownership involved with the townhomes. I think that, I know you can't really compare this to like Ironwood and Hammond's Ferry and the River Club, but I think it keeps each other in check, so, and then it's only 5 units.
I think if I knew this last time, we wouldn't have had Glenn here, so anyway. All right, any other discussion?
I was just gonna say that I think it's a nice bookend to the end of that road. And get rid of that, our car wash.
Absolutely
Just
agree
been
with
sitting there.
Okay, very good. All right, no other discussion. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Okay, this is the night of the resolutions. Skipping along, item 8. Resolution number 2022-39, accepting deed of dedication for the streets, sanitary sewer, stormwater collection, fire suppression systems, detention ponds, and associated easements, and right-of-way along with a maintenance guarantee and letter of credit for Bergen Place West Phase 5. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. President.
I'll second.
Mr. McGee, second. Thank you. Anything you want to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
So for the council, this is a fairly routine item. Bergen Place is a well-established neighborhood in between exit 1 and 5 north of I-20. Phase 5 is the final portion of Bergen Place as per Councilman Brooks' assertion from last week. And then it also, as of interest item, actually sits in both Aiken and Edgefield counties across both tax parcels. So this will be partially Aiken County, partially Edgefield County, but all city of North Augusta And so again, this is a routine action that we do anytime a developer turns over parts of the easements and rights of ways over to the city.
Okay, very good. Any public comments? Council discussion. All right, here none. I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item 19, Engineering Public Works, resolution number 2022-40 to authorize construction of the Greenway Extension Woodstone to Mayfield Drive project by city forces and to establish a construction budget and funding source. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
I think Mr. Brooks, I saw him push his hand button first, and then your second, Ms. McCauley? Okay. All right, anything to share, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, council members, and for our citizens at home. Ultimately, our initial strategy for the Greenway Extension North was to pursue a grant program, and so we estimated that grant amount to be $77,000 based on the estimated project cost of $97,000. When that project went to bid, we received only one bid, and that bid was significantly higher than the grant amount. So with that, our Director of Public Works, Tom Zeser, went and looked at it from an engineering perspective, looked at what his capabilities were also with streets and drains, and estimated that he could do the work internally for roughly $55,000. And so our strategy then pivoted to doing this as an in-house project because it still costs less than the grant amount if we had tied that together through ARTS. And so ultimately, our new strategy is to tie this $55,000 in the funding source before you would be capital project sales tax 3. And there is a line item for this Greenway extension in the capital project sales tax. And so that is what we're coming to you tonight for the council to approve that action.
Okay, very good. And I know for a fact we're going to have public comments because the gentleman wanted to talk last week. I wouldn't let him. Bill Jackson, come on down, sir. You're first up. Just state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening. My name's Bill Jackson. I live at 444 Crossroads Drive in North Augusta. I'm a bicyclist and a frequent user of the Greenway, and I'd like to take a few minutes and speak in favor of the Mayfield Drive extension. It's been a pet project of mine for a number of years. I was involved in it before it was a project. When the Greenway was being built, when it was being cleared through Bergen Place, I'd take my bike out there, and I was looking for a way to get to Edgefield County, to get to Gregory's Lake Road to extend the ride. And from every indication I could see, the Greenway was going to end in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this was before Bergen Place, Bergen West, Woodstone, before anything, Wando Woodlands. So I was wondering why it was ending where it was ending, so I did some research. And a couple things came up. One, city didn't own the property, and it was not inside the city limits, so that's a deal breaker there. And two, the Greenway ended where it did. The city was following the mandates of the 2012 Master Greenway Plan, and it called for neighborhood greenway extensions in those subdivisions, and for those extensions to be tied together and feed back into the Greenway through Woodstone, through Rippling Creek Lane. And that's a work in progress. I don't think it ever got fully instituted. We can fast forward to today, and things have changed. Things have progressed. The city now owns the Mayfield extension, and it is inside the city limits. There's also a bunch of property up and down Gregory's Lake that the city either owns, and includes the country club property now, and other properties along Gregory's Lake that are annexed and due to be developed. That area, I guess you can consider that part of Country Club Hills, part of that community. That community is shared between Meriwether and Sweetwater communities. And the citizens up there, you know, they pay attention to what goes on in Aiken County and what goes on in Edgefield County and what goes on in North Augusta.
Yes, they do.
They really do. And the city's relationship with these communities, Meriwether and Sweetwater, tenuous, would that be the term? In need of improvement? And it's partially due to North Augusta's annexation and development plans. They are fiercely independent up there. They have their own unique definition of ruralism. And I don't know if compromise is in their vocabulary at all. So, in my opinion, and I'm being an optimist here, just extending the Greenway this little short distance will buy so much goodwill. It will buy so much good PR. I mean, the city couldn't afford it. The city could not pay for this much good stuff. I mean, it could be looked upon as an olive branch or a peace offering, anything to pump up the volume, you know.
Sure.
And finally, simply, if the city wants to complete the Greenway to the country club, and I'm hoping they do, either by roadway, and that would be Country Club Hills Drive or Warren Court, or by the railroad gulch from Mayfield to Gregory's Lake, and I'm kind of hoping that would be pursued also. This little short extension is mandatory. I mean, it has to be done before we can move further toward the country club. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you for your time. And are there any questions?
I would say thank you for your support and for your focus and realizing how important this was a long time ago. And we take all the goodwill and good PR we can get, trust me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it, sir.
All right.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Come on down, sir.
Good evening, council members. I'm Bill Waters of 909 Georgetown Drive, North Augusta, South Carolina, 29841.
Nice to have you with us, Bill.
Let me inject a little bit of levity here. Better in-house than an outhouse project. Thank you all the council members, all the people who have made this proposal possible. I think it opens up direct, unimpeded access to the community above Gregory Lake. It also offers an untapped market for the cyclists who want to extend their ride a little bit further, and maybe we'll even do a circuit and then patronize the downtown restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate
Thank
your
you, Mr.
support.
Bill.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comments? Okay, any council discussion? All right, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Very good. Thank you all. We are zipping right along. Okay, item 10, economic development, resolution number 2022-41, a resolution to provide a local match for a Municipal Association of South Carolina Hometown Economic Development Grant. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution? First, Mr. Presnell, second.
Second.
Ms. McCauley, thank you. Anything you'd like to share, Mr. Clifford, about this?
Mr. Mayor and Council, and for our citizens in the room and watching at home, we are pursuing a Municipal Association of South Carolina grant for the amount of $25,000 under the Hometown Economic Development Grant Program. and this would effectively pay for a number of new banners, two-sided banners here that could be used to the downtown corridor. And as with most of the grant programs, there is a match requirement. The match requirement on our end is $3,750, which is roughly 15% of the cost of the match program. And so ultimately, what we're asking tonight from the council is to encumber that amount out of the capital projects fund. If we win the hometown grant, then that money would be encumbered for those banners. If we do not win the hometown grant, we would ask to move that money back into the unencumbered roles of the capital projects fund.
And this is strictly just for the materials of buying the banners, nothing on them. We'll be doing that later.
I think that's the case, Mr. Mayor, but I don't want to give you bad information.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, any public comments? Okay, any council discussion? Okay, not hearing any, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous, thank you. Item 11, Parks, Recreation, Tourism, Resolution Number 2022-42, authorizing the City of North Augusta to enter into a professional service contract to update the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Ms. McCauley, a second? All right, Ms. Carpenter, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a long-term project that the city staff has been working on based on directive from the council to look at a Parks Master Plan program. This went out for bid through the city website. We had a number of interested and qualified firms that approached the city, and then Ms. Rachel Moody and Rick Meyer and some of the PRT staff provided the down select committee and ultimately picked Land Plan Group South as the winning bid based on their qualifications. And so what you have before you is the amount from the Capital Projects Fund along with the PARD grant from the state of South Carolina for the total award, and that's what is before you today.
I believe we were told at the study session this should begin in October, and it'll be maybe a 9-10 month program. Also, I think there'll be a number of public comment opportunities, which is perfect. So, very good. Thank you for that, Mr. Clifford. Any public comments? Okay, any council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item 12, Planning and Development, Resolution Number 2022-43, a resolution authorizing funding for removal of city bald cypress trees through the use of fiscal year 2022 funds. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution? Ms. Carpenter, is there a second? Mr. Presnell, okay. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford? Maybe some questions we have.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So this is at the request of several citizens that I've received direct correspondence from within the Hammonds Ferry subdivision. We have since walked the ground there with Roy Kilbur, our tree expert and superintendent within Public Services. We've talked to a number of citizens, and so ultimately there's some concern about the intrusion of these types of trees into the yards and eventually into the foundations of some of these homes. And so ultimately we proposed a removal of 54 trees through a contract mechanism. We do not have that capability in-house to do so. And so ultimately that would come at a cost of $20,000 or so that we would have aligned out of the general fund for this year. Understanding that since the time that we proposed this in the study session, I know I've received a number of comments, as I suspect a number of the council members, regarding whether this is a viable approach to take based on precedent within the city. And so based on Mayor Williams' tasking, I have not yet made contact with the Municipal Association through their attorneys to do that.
My question is, do we, you may ask this, was these,
Go ahead.
and you might have said this last week, I'm trying to look through my notes, did the developer plant the trees or did the city plant the trees?
The developer planted the trees,
Okay.
but the city accepted the trees.
Accepted the trees, okay.
Okay, so why are we responsible for them? They're on private property.
That's a fair question, Councilman. Unlike some other types of trees, what we're seeing with the bald cypress trees is they have these knobby parts of the root that come up
Yes, sir.
significantly into people's yards, because as they water, they end up coming at a pretty significant clip.
I don't think the city should be doing this. I think we are setting a precedent around trees that are planted on around sidewalks, either by the city or by the property owners. I just think we need to table this until we get more information.
I would agree, actually. I think it's going to cause a ripple effect. I mean, we're talking about one area of town. How do we not know that there's multiple more?
I mean, we could have people
trees.
just saying, hey, this is within 5 foot, it's doing damage, you have to come remove it. I mean, I know,
We don't
well, like
know
the
enough.
power company and some of the other people have right-of-ways, but does the city have a right-of-way on any of these properties, for water or anything?
All right, so,
I make a motion that we table this for further discussion, so
Hold
staff-
on 1 minute before we table.
so city staff can do some
we have a motion,
investigation.
and that's it.
Could I ask one question before
We
we?
haven't had a second, so go ahead.
All right. When you said the city accepted the trees, just like in item number 8, when we accept this deed of dedication, then we stuck with that. We accepting what, so did we vote to accept this on those sidewalks though? I mean, is that something we would?
My understanding is that
Since we
is,
voted yes, looks like we took over.
Here's what, we have we have a motion to table, and the idea of that is, I think those are good questions. And part of why we went to the benefit of doing a study session a week in advance was we would bring things up, and since then, I think we've all had citizens ask us. So that's part of what this is all about.
Yeah.
So I think those are good questions. We have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Toole, there's a second. There's no more discussion. What I will say is we will charge Mr. Clifford to reach out to MASC and who needs to be, and get us the information for questions we have, and we address it later.
acknowledged, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Oh, do I need to? Yeah, I got to vote on. Okay. Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimous, but now I got to go back to the.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I believe we had a motion to approve for the resolution, so that one would need to be either denied and then bring back to table, or is that incorrect?
Can we do the first and second? Do I need to do something off that first, the original motion?
Basically, it was put on the floor.
Just on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, put on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So
enough.
now it's tabled, so that
Yeah.
concludes it for this evening.
You're doing your job. Thank you, Jamie. Okay.
And who's second,
Can
though?
you-
Who's second? I know I know not
Mr.
on
Mr.
the, not
Mr.
on the
Brooks?
table
Mr. Brooks?
before. What Jamie was asking about.
The original one was.
Mr.
Carpenter,
Presnell
and
did
then
the second on that.
And who
one.
else?
Mr. Presnell, Councilmember.
Presnell.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, okay, so we are table, no more discussion this time. Very good. Okay, item 13. Public Service Department, Resolution Number 2022-44, authorizing the City of North Augusta to enter into a contract to construct a regional materials recovery processing building. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. Presnell, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Would like to update us on this, Mr. Clifford.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is something that we've talked about with both Rachel and James about the material recovery facility and the damage caused by a fire at that location. And this is a request to authorize into a contract for us to essentially rebuild a portion of the MRF, the material recovery facility, for us to be able to conduct our activities at that site. And the details are within your resolution. And our recommendation is to move forward with this resolution.
This is like a 12,500 square foot material. This is a wonderful building. Very good. Okay, thank you. Any public comments? Any council discussion? Okay, here none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. Very good, thank you. Okay, any administrative reports, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, so we're now down to item 15, presentations, communication, and recognition of visitors. This is the time citizens may speak to mayor and council regarding any matters not on the agenda. If there's anybody that would like to, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Okay, and I've only got one thing on my final piece, so I'll open it up to any council comments. Ms. Pat, anybody before?
I'm sorry. The two other items we tabled, you know, the Greg Kendrick's property with the Love coming in, and the Bluegrass over on Buena Vista Avenue, are those going to come back up for our discussion? I mean, I don't want them to get lost out there in La La Land.
Yeah, they're not going to get lost, but it's to the planning department.
All right, so we don't do anything till they bring it back to us, or?
We don't have the information, so we tabled it to send back to the planning department
Right,
for them
right.
to do that work.
Okay.
And they will present it to the administration, who will then present that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank
Good
you.
question. Anything else? Okay, I just want to, I was hoping I'd have numbers, but I just want to publicly just thank everybody that participated in the trash bash at the border on Saturday. The numbers compared to last year were phenomenal. I cannot tell you how impressed I was, the number of youth that showed up, and all ages, and we picked up a lot of trash. I think I will tell you that there was one of the areas that I worked compared to last year, you could tell a difference what we did. It wasn't near as bad. But it was just a very big success. We don't have the numbers, so hopefully I'll win the mayor's cup, so I won't have to present the cup to Mayor Davis in Augusta. But regardless, it was a win for everybody because our community is prettier, our river is prettier, and, you know, as I told the citizens that participated, for a couple of hours on Saturday, everyone who participated had an opportunity to kind of take time away from themselves and focus on something bigger than themselves, which was making this community better. And so I just was very thankful. I want to thank Argus Visuals. They were out there. Thank you, Brian and Cheryl, for bringing some stuff out there. I know Cicada Camera came, or Butch Fagan, so we had great exposure. And we'll be getting things out there on social media. But anyway, it was a wonderful day. I just thank everybody that participated and all the support. So with that, if there's nothing else for the good order, we stand adjourned. Thank you.